Stop. If that's how you look doing your one arm row, check this video out and figure out why you're not getting any lat gains. Good day, beautiful people. And we're here today to talk about how you're doing a one arm row, but you're probably not working your lats. Now, I really like the one arm row. It's something that's in my program. It's not something I would prioritize because if you're doing a dumbbell one arm row, you're really able to focus on the muscle in that short range. I always like to focus on that lengthened mid range first, but it's still a great exercise to do, great exercise to include. And like with everything, it's not just what the exercise is, but it's the execution of it. So we're going to go through ways I've seen it executed and ways that I think you can change it to make it even better. As always, we first want to go through what's the function of the lat. What the lat wants to try and do, it wants to swing up, then it wants to protract forward through the scapula to get that full stretch, retract to pull it back down, and then it wants to sweep down towards the ground, pull right back, slight twist around. So that is the function of the lat. So whenever we're picking workouts, we want to remember what does the lat want to do and how we can mimic it in that way. Problems I've seen when people are doing the one arm row, when they're doing the row, instead of rowing back to keep that muscle activated, again, the lat wants to drive back, they're just pulling up. And by pulling up, they're overusing their traps. And the weight, again, as we've talked about before in many of our videos, if you haven't seen it, look back. They're more focused on just, is this weight moving from A to B instead of what muscle is actually driving the weight to move. And they're pulling back, and you can see their traps just rowing back, rowing back, rowing back. So whenever you're doing the one arm row, you are not thinking about pulling up. A cue I always like to give my clients is driving their elbow back towards their hips to keep the lat doing as much work as possible to bias the lats as possible. So again, don't pull up, think drive back. Another one is you see it, again, thinking just A to B, you'll see their arms start to move as well. As they're pulling the weight, people just get too weight focused. You know, if you're watching this channel, the main thing is the execution of it, not just the weight you're moving. The more you drive your elbow up and you're pulling it, think of it like a bicep curl. So if you're here and you're just pulling back, you're now almost causing, not almost, you are causing that elbow flexion. So you are starting to use your biceps to move the weight instead of the lats. So a large reason why people are not getting lat engagement, lat growth, lat development is because you're telling your body to use so many different muscles instead of just letting the lat do the work. So don't just pull it thinking I just got to move this weight. Try and relax your arm, focus again on just that elbow driving back and not causing any elbow flexion. The other one, classic one, would be just too much momentum, too much bouncing. You see the hips start to twist because now they're just trying to generate energy, generate momentum. Why? Say it with me, kids. Because they're trying to move the weight from point A to point B, and they're not thinking what muscles actually doing the work. So you'll see them twist their hips just to try and get it. Now there is some rotation that the lat can do, but if you're just twisting your whole body just again generate momentum and get across, again, you're not going to get those results because your lat isn't doing that work. You're involving your obliques, you're involving momentum to just move the weight around. You want to stay as fixed as possible and then let the lat just do the work. That's one of the other reasons why I would always, when I do my one arm row, is always one of the things at the end. I always want to prioritize other workouts. A lot of my other workouts, I'm able to have a chest supported system, which helps cut down a lot of that momentum that you would see from someone doing a one arm row and just swinging about. Now, this is how I would do a one arm row. This is how I would cue my clients to do a one arm row. First, you want to do that setup. And quick tip, there's nothing wrong with doing one arm row on the dumbbells, but if it's busy, just use a bench. It's very annoying when someone's doing a one arm row on the dumbbells and you need the dumbbells and you gotta kind of reach around them, across them, or wait for them to finish. So some gym etiquette, if it's busy, do it on the bench. But you want to position yourself where you're stable. When it comes to foot position, there's a lot of its preference, but there is some difference. So if you have the weight In your right hand, if you have your right foot forward, that like cuts down a lot of your ability to use momentum. So that's one of the ways I would have some clients do it. Or you can just put the other foot forward, but just know you want to make sure to brace your core. I think the startup between any workout should be, what are you doing with your posture? What are you doing with your core? Personally, for me, I just like to keep both my feet stable. And then I know I'm just pushing through both my feet, still thinking of keeping my core engaged, still thinking of that neutral spine, trying to keep my spine neutral, staying upright. So once you're in that position, you want to put your hands hinge down. I like to tell my clients to keep pushing their hips back. You're going to notice as you're doing your one arm row, especially as you get tired, your hips are going to try and drive forward, try and take that tension off the lats, try and use some momentum. So if you can keep your hips back, try and stay low. You don't have to go like where you're parallel to the ground. Just about 45-degree angle should be fine. Just try and find your comfort zone. You want to feel that lat stretch. Now, because you're doing a dumbbell row, you're not going to get a lot of tension in your lats just because of the moment arm and gravity, but you still want to try and go through that same range of motion. Think straight down, feel that lat stretch, and then again, push those hips back, keep it there, keep that core, keep that posture. Drive your elbow back towards your hip, and you can even do a slight tuck wrap around to really feel that lat. You're not going to be able to tuck around too much, but you just want to make sure you're able to pull it back and squeeze that lat. Another important tip when you are working the lats is making sure you're keeping that elbow as close as possible. The more it starts to drift out, the more you're going to start using too much of your traps or your rear delts. So again, remembering the function of the lat, it wants to drive right down, staying close. So make sure when you're doing that row, you want to tuck that elbow in close to the body, and try and wrap it right back to squeeze that lat. Once you got the form down, now you just want to make sure you have a great tempo. So for me personally, because I know I'm doing a dumbbell one arm row, I know I'm not going to feel as much tension on the bottom. I like to get that full stretch, power back, and then pause up top, squeezing my lat as hard as I can before I go into that stretch. So, quick summary. When we're doing the one arm row, we are not trying to bounce. We are not trying to pull up to involve our traps. We are not trying to use momentum and swing all about the place. We want to think core posture, driving that elbow back. Do a slight pause so you know you feel your lats, keeping that elbow tucked close to your body. Feel that stretch. Play around to different feet positions, see what works best for you. And then I want you to try these and then comment back to see if you can feel the difference. If you had to drop the weight because now the lats have to do more work, so you can't lift the 50s or the 70s or the 100s. You have to drop down to make sure you can execute the weight properly. There's other videos on the page if you need help with other lat or back workouts. We have one on the traps, doing your wide row, and also the lat pull down. Check those out. Check out some of the other videos, and I'll see you guys on the next one.